Hello, what's up everybody? Welcome to Wise Revised session number 5. This session is all about mind maps. Now, as a teacher, I find that 99% of students that I teach hate mind maps. Find mind maps ineffective. Don't enjoy mind maps. Basically, yeah, just hate mind maps. However, I found when I was revising for my GCSEs, my A-levels, and my degree, I found mind maps to be incredibly effective and incredibly helpful. One of the reasons for this is I think that in the past I've noticed that when I've set students to do a mind map for homework, what they've brought to me looks nothing like what a mind map should look like. I've been given A3 sheets before with a whole novel of information written across them. That is not a good mind map. A good mind map is image heavy and text light. Image heavy and text light. What I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to draw a mind map myself. I'm going to talk through the process that I'm going through in my mind as I do it, and then talk a little bit about why mind maps are helpful. Okay, before we get started here, you can see I've already put the unit right there in the middle of the piece of paper, the A3 paper, Jewish practices. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to draw and write some keywords just around the outside as I try and nail down the key parts of this unit all on one sheet of paper. So I'm going to start with the word Halaqah. This means Jewish law. This is really, really important. And to represent Jewish law, we've got a hammer there by a judge. The Halaqah, of course, comes from the Tanakh. That's the book there to represent that. And the first 5 books of that are the Torah. Now, from the Jewish law, we had rabbis, and you can see a couple of rabbis there discuss the Jewish law. And from them, we got the Gemara and the Mishnah. They make up the Talmud. Now, from the law, we get the Kashrut. And the kashrut is all about food laws. We've got kosher food, which we know includes sheep and lamb and fish with scales and fins. And then, of course, trefah as well. Now, trefah is all about the food that cannot be eaten, the torn food, the unclean food. So we've got the pig, and because I'm not great at drawing pigs, I put oink on the side, and then milkshake and a burger because they can't have meat and milk. Moving straight on now to the synagogue, and then you've got the 10 men from the synagogue, the minyan. Now, obviously, it's a long time to draw 10 men, so you can see how very quickly they just put 10 circles and turn them into bodies. We're now going to have the 2 layouts of the different types of synagogue, both the Orthodox synagogue and the Reform synagogue. You can see that I've labelled just a couple of words there just to label each part and show how they're different. Men and women sitting together on the right and not so much on the left, the cantor there in the bottom left. The minyan take part in tefillah, which is the Hebrew word for prayer. It means to judge yourself. And different types of prayer, we know the Shema, the Amidah, the Alenenu, which of course means duty. And we've got a guy there saluting to show his duty. Going to draw here a Jewish chap who's got some of the key aspects of his clothes for getting down to prayer. You can see the talit there, the tefillin, the kippur. He's reading from the siddur as well. And moving next over to Shabbat. Now, Shabbat is obviously a key part of the Jewish week. And we've got the Jewish women there welcoming Shabbat into the house by waving the arms, lighting the candles, the prayer over the wine, and then, of course, the special bread as well. Moving from Shabbat into the important rites of passage that Jewish people go through. Brit Milah, of course, where we have circumcision and the naming ceremony in the synagogue. The bar and the bat mitzvah, where the Jewish child becomes an adult. And you can see that the child becoming an adult is wearing the kippah now and holding the Jewish law. Moving over to marriage very quickly. Betrothal, the closest word we have to that in the UK is engagement. And the ketubah, the marriage contract, which I've drawn there as well. Then the marriage ceremony itself, the chuppah that they're getting married underneath, and smashing that wine glass to show the temple has been destroyed and the frustration that causes. And of course, Mazel Tov, which is a Jewish term, a Hebrew term for good luck. At the end of life, in terms of rites of passage, we have Levaya, which is a funeral, and it's a Jewish funeral there. And you can see that we've drawn the mourners by the side, then they go through their mourning process as well. And just above that, we have got now some of the festivals, starting with Pesach, and you can see the Jews there leaving Egypt. We've got the special Pesach meal there with the lamb bone and the unleavened bread and the green herbs. And then Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah with Teshuvah, Tefillah, and Zedekah, and 3 simple strips of those. And Yom Kippur with the 25-hour fast and the trip to the synagogue to hear that special prayer being said, of course, the Kol Nidre. Well, I hope you got something from that. I know that was very, very quick. I know that was sped up, but that took me about 25 minutes, half an hour. And in that time, I've nailed down some of the really key aspects from what is quite a big unit. Now, the key thing to remember is if you cannot draw, it doesn't matter. You'll actually get more benefits from doing a mind map if you cannot draw than you can. Now, that might seem like a strange thing to say, but actually, if you can't draw and if you're not a natural artist, you're going to spend a bit more time thinking really hard about what symbols you can draw to represent some of these key ideas. And then your brain is going to be way more likely to remember those than if you just quickly jotted some things down. So if we look up here, for example, in the top right here, we talked about teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah. Now, teshuvah means to repent or to return. And so I've drawn just a simple U-turn sign there. Tefillah means to pray, to judge yourself. And so I've got a little dude there on his knees praying. And tzedakah is justice. And I've drawn a judge's hammer to represent that. This then becomes a fantastic revision resource that I can use for practice testing. I can test myself. This will be a good thing to stick on the wall. And I can just have that there to remind me and look over and test myself from time to time. I believe in mind maps. I don't know how you feel about them, but I would recommend don't just be turned off them because they haven't worked for you before. Have another go. Draw a mind map up. Use the ideas that we've talked about today. It might be helpful for you to put the course textbook in front of you, just to have a content page and work out what sort of things should be going into it as well. These become brilliant revision resources and I can't recommend them enough. Tune in next time.